Why, how, and which version of Windows 10 do I install? I am having few dozens of systems on this home office. Especially on my daily driver, I am having my favorite Unix like operating system, which is working very fine. As you see, the system spec is very nice. It is working very fine. Having 32 gigs of RAM is more than enough for me. Still, why do I need a niche operating system having Windows, especially Windows 10 and specifically Windows 10 19H? Why do I need that version? Few years back, I purchased a laptop that was an Acer laptop that came Windows pre-installed, and I remember it was quite expensive. The same model number was having two variations. One was having like without any operating system, and another one was having Windows 10 came pre-installed. So it was being used on my home office quite a long time, and it was serving mainly printers, scanners, and local file share, Samba share. So those three things are very good at it, for especially if you are having non-standard hardwares like few uncommon printers, and if you want a simple solution that can serve your local systems with simple file server that would be accessible through Apple, Windows, and Linux systems, Windows is the best as they provide Samba share and RDP. I know there are Samba share on Unix like systems also. I know there are solution like XRDP, but those are not quite good enough or not quite polished enough. So I had to use that laptop for those reasons. Somehow that laptop is no more, and I was wondering if I can live my life here in my home office without a Windows, but I tried and failed. Yes, I was successful to make a Samba share, but RDP, XRDP, not quite good enough. I know Mac and Kubuntu, those are having some kind of screen sharing, but I find not quite there. Let's see in 2026 why someone would need a Windows, especially Windows 10. Compatibility with older hardware, no, I'm having updated hardware, so I could go with Windows 11, but I would not go. Like most of my devices are having TPM2, so TPM2 is not the problem for me. Software and peripheral support, I understand. If my Windows 10 system supports those printers, Windows 11 would also support. And familiar interface, no, I am not against any familiarity or for any familiarity, as those systems will not be my daily driver, so I don't mind having like unknown interface or something like that. Business and enterprise need, no, I don't have those specific needs. Support still available. See, support is a vague term, support is a illusion. Like you don't need support. What if Windows XP can suffice? If the driver supports Windows XP or even Windows 95 or even Linux, any version of Linux, any distributions of Linux would be more than enough. Like if I install ReactOS, I know for sure ReactOS will not support those hardware device drivers, especially for those printers and scanners. So I had to choose Windows 10. Cost considerations, yes, that is a simple negligible terms, that is cost. Summary, I don't want to go to summary because all those points are not enough. Why I need Windows 10 specifically? That because day by day Windows 11 is becoming like centralized operating system. Like you will have to have one Microsoft account to use and activate Windows. Like see, my Windows 10 was activated on that laptop, but I'm not sure if I can import those activations to my new installation. And what about the ISO? Which ISO do I install? I'm not sure. But what I get understood, like one of my friends suggested, whenever you install Windows 10, if it is like on updated system, if you want updates to be installed or like long-term support system, if you want, you must use or install Windows 10 LTSC. I'm not sure, long-term support maybe, but if I search, I cannot find Windows LTSC from Microsoft, but I can find on archive, which is this one. So I'm not sure if it is a safe download or will it come along with some malicious code, or I'm not sure. But I'm sure if you download from Microsoft itself, like from this website, it is 100% sure that there will be some malicious programs that you don't want to be installed. So there are few steps. The first step would be to download the ISO. The second step would be to make that ISO bootable. And yes, I know making bootable disk. Nowadays, no one use CD or DVD to make a bootable ISO. Nowadays, it's time for USB. So for USB, you can use this type of pen drives, but for the sake of fast and speed, I will use this one. This one gives like 400 or 500 Mbps speed, so it will be quite speedy enough for me to go with this installation. Let's put this USB drive onto the desired system's USB port, but make sure some of the device do not support boot from the USB 3. Some system requires you to use USB 2 to be able to make bootable. By the way, I have used Ventoy. Let me share the screen, HDMI screen. Yes, this one. As you see, I was having a quite nice looking operating system on that system, and I wish to format that one. So to format, let's reboot that system. If I type reboot, yes, this system is going to reboot, and let me press delete. See, I am having a gigabit system. This is the BIOS. I see. No, nowadays you cannot call this as BIOS. This is UEFI. Actually UEFI, but it is universal, so you will call it UEFI. By the way, only x86 and 64, that means AMD 64 devices are only supported UEFI. If you use other architecture like Apple Silicon or even RISC or even other type, you may not get a UEFI device. So let me go to the boot and select the proper boot device. I'll have to select this external USB 3. As I see, this system supports boot from USB 3. So the boot process and installation time would be much faster. Let's save and reboot. Now it will boot to the Ventoy. See, I'm having quite a few ISO over there. GoPOS is my creation, Alpine is my favorite, Garuda was my daily driver for like 3 or 4 years, Windows 10. See, Windows 10 19H2, and I am having Windows 10 15, but I would like to go with the Windows 10 with 19H2. Let's proceed with Windows 10 19H2. This is the point you must consider for the second option. Like if you boot normal boot, it would not work. If you are using Ventoy and you are using Windows, you must choose WIM boot. Let's proceed with WIM boot. See, as I am using USB 3, the boot process is much faster. Let's proceed with the boot process. Next, this piece of Windows ISO is having multiple version, and as I see, this ISO is modified. I'm not sure whether to trust this ISO or not, but anyhow, any Windows is not trustable. I will just use those for printing purpose, that's it, and sometimes RDP maybe. See, I'm having quite a few partitions over there. Drive 0 and drive 1. Drive 1 must be the Ventoy one, so each and every drive 0, it's better to delete each and every partition for that matter. Alt D is for the deletion. Let's delete those partitions one by one. Delete. Now all those partitions are deleted. As you see, on this system I am having 250 GB of NVMe storage, and my USB drive is 500 GB. So nowadays storage and RAM prices are much higher. I don't want to purchase any storage for this purpose. Let's proceed with 256 GB, and if I press enter or next, it will just auto format all those partitions Windows needs. So Windows primarily needs two partition, one for the boot process, another one for the C drive, where your operating system, your user files, all those stays over there. Previously I used to use another D or E drive to make my data and other things separate, but here I don't care. That is the reason why only one drive is more than enough for me. And see, things are going pretty fast. I was thinking to have some chat and discussion while those Windows installation gets processed, but I don't think I will get enough time to discuss some more things. Let's see if I can discuss more things while those installation. Let me share my another screen. Yeah, see, this is the screen where GopiOS 2.4.10 is being getting processed, and those applications will be live and updated for all of my users. By the way, wow, the fan speed got very cranked up. Why it is getting cranked up? Because it is taking the installation process is complete. I see it did not even took a minute to install. I'm not sure how the installation was done. Okay, let me set the password, my super secure password, and it is done. No setup, nothing. How fast the installation was. And it came with Ghost Toolbox. Let me connect with a mouse and see if CPU ID, see 2 or 3 years old CPU. It's quite good, having Intel i5 with 32 GB of RAM, and for graphics, see, Microsoft basic display driver. That means graphics driver is not installed, and I think it would be much easier for me to manipulate that system using RDP. Here we go. We use RDP for this system. It's time to connect to the internet, and I have connected. Let me see if I am connected. I need to see the IP address of this device. For Windows, the command would be ipconfig 189. I see the IP is 189. Yes, I have successfully connected the newly installed Windows system with the RDP protocol. So let me show you the RDP screen. It is the RDP screen. See, I'm connected with Remina. Now let me explain why specifically this version. Because till this version, RDP, multiple RDP connection is supported. If you try with above like 22H, it will not work. Even Windows XP, Windows 7, Windows 8, 8.1, each and every version supports multiple RDP. But from Windows 10 onwards, they have specifically blocked RDP. Let me first install Firefox, because nowadays whatever you use Chrome, Chromium, Brave, Firefox, each and every browser comes under one umbrella, and you know which one I am talking about. Let's proceed with Firefox installation run. I'm not sure how long this version of Windows 10 would be supported. The Firefox installation is taking more time than the Windows installation was. Meantime, let me check the network usage. I see network is slow. Sometimes it's getting like 100 Mbps, sometimes it's 3 Mbps. I'm not sure what's happening. Let me see what are the driver support is here. Device drivers, I'm worried about. Intel HD is working fine, but what about my dedicated graphics card? Can I update it? Search automatically? No, it do not have. Finally, the Firefox is installed. Let's continue. Set Firefox as default. The main power of Windows is gaming and RDP. Like the GUI is built and baked into the kernel itself. No other operating system is powerful enough in this sense. So RDP wrapper, let's search it. I'm not sure why Google is not confident about my internet connection 8 years, 9 years ago, and the last update was from 2017. I'm pretty much sure those developers are quite capable, but I'm also sure that Microsoft would not let them to continue developing RDP wrapper. Let's extract all over here. Before I do this, better I get the updated INI. RDP wrapper, latest INI file. Let's proceed with this installation. I know it will get disconnected. Now it's time to save this piece of INI file. First on the download folder. Later on, from downloads, I would like to copy this on the program files, RDP wrapper over here, and replace this one. See, if you go RDP config, fully supported. Now I can add other users and all of them will be able to connect to this system. Like only one graphics card, only 132 GB RAM, and all of the users will be able to use this system. Like if you go over here, 1 point something GB memory used for one user, but it would not take another GB for another user. Like nowadays, only Windows 11 takes around 4 GB of RAM, but this piece of Windows ISO takes only like 1 GB. No, I was wrong to mention this. It is taking 3.6 GB, but for this user, it was taking 1 GB. What if I add another user? How do I add user? Add user on Windows CMD. I know on Windows there might be or must be some way to add user using GUI basis, but it's easier to add user using CLI because I just have to type the command. Control V is working, but Control Shift V as I used to is not working. Username, suppose I want to mention U1, and what about password? Password, let's provide a super secure password and /add. The command completed successfully. That means whoever created this command, it is not informative enough. Like the output message would be too similar, like the user was added successfully or similar, but no, they said the command completed successfully. What a joke, Windows developer. Now I see how to make them administrator. It's similar to taking a user with wheel group or administrator group or sudo group on other operating systems. Like if you are on Ubuntu, you might want to add your user to the sudo group. If you are on Red Hat or similar operating systems, you might want to add your user to the wheel group. Or even for the BSD people also, you want to add your user, or like administrative purposes, you want to add them to the wheel group. Wheel can run things. I'll have to mention add. Now the command has gone through. Now what? Now it's better I check locally if I can run or use multiple RDP. Let's check U1. If I press password super secure one, the number of computers to this are limited. Yes, I know this issue might occur. I remember one thing. After you install Windows, you must install or do something to stop updating Windows. And the easiest way to do this is to get stop updates 10. It even works on Windows 7, 8, 8.1, 10, 11. It's better to have this copy latest over here. So one issue is still remaining. Number of RDP user. Increase number of RDP users. How do I do this? I think Google will help me out. The steps are mentioned. Let me try. Computer configurations, administrative templates, Windows components, remote desktop service, remote desktop session host, connections. It should be disabled. Okay. Limit number of connections. Limit number of connections should be enabled, and the maximum number 13. Unlucky 13 is enough for me. Now I think I need to restart this system. Let's do restart and let's see if it works. The restart is done. It's time to check if RDP is working for multiple users. U1, let's check U1. Yes, you see, I can connect or anyone connect to this Windows system up to 13 people, which is quite enough for me. As you see, Windows nowadays, Windows as per se, Microsoft is trying to force users not to purchase their operating system, but to have a online account and use, like they want to dominate and control all users. That is the reason why it is so much scary. The future looks so much scary for Windows peoples, and I am scared. Some of the times I have to install Windows like make today for the sake of connecting printers and scanners. Let's see I got those drivers or not. As you see, Intel Graphics 630 is installed, but this dedicated GPU driver is not installed. That was the part, but I understand if I download latest graphics drivers from AMD and Nvidia, I don't think those will work on this piece of Windows 10 because they are updated. Okay, that's it for today. We'll connect another day.